Hey book lovers, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my November wrap up. So in the month of November, I read a total of 9 books. I read 2 mystery books, 3 fantasy books, and 4 romance books. The first book I read in the month of November was booktuber by Ceci Robson. This book is a fantasy book. I saw this book in Target and was like, ooh, look at the cover. Like, it's so pretty. And then it's just so pretty. But I was like, I'll get it next time. And then I saw it on my Kindle and I was like, okay, I have to read it. So I started it on my Kindle, was really hooked the first couple chapters. So I went and bought it. And then a couple chapters later, it kind of fell a little bit. And I was like, oh. I didn't really know how to feel about this book. So it's basically about this kingdom. And in the kingdom, they have this competition where they send criminals, or if anybody willingly wants to just go, they can, and they're put in the arena and they fight to the death. After a certain amount of wins, a gladiator can become a blood guard. And if you become a blood guard, then all your pardons are forgiven. You get noble status and they give you money. So then you're like well off, you're good. But it's hard to become a blood guard. It's really incredibly challenging. But our main guy character, Lee, is almost there. He has 4 more trials to go before he can become a blood guard. And he eventually meets the princess, Maeve, and she has to marry a nobleman. But she does not like any of the noblemen in her kingdom. So they kind of meet and work together to help each other out. The book started off really, really good. Like, I genuinely enjoyed the beginning of the book. As a whole, I did not hate the book. But I will say it started to feel like a parody with the sense of comedy that was used. Or I don't know. That's just kind of how it read to me. If you've ever seen the show My Lady Jane, which I like that show. I'm not saying I don't like parodies, but I just wasn't expecting that in this book. I don't even think that's what the author meant to give off, but that's how it felt for me. But it gives that same vibe as like My Lady Jane, not literal political events that are like reimagined, but the sense of humor in it was given parody. I felt like a lot of the scenes were all over the place and there wasn't really a sense of direction for some scenes. It felt like a lot of things were happening abruptly, and not in a like, oh, I didn't see this coming way, but just in a like, what is going on? Like, it was so chaotic. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it was not my favorite read, but it wasn't horrible, and I still enjoyed a lot of the scenes in the book. So I ended up giving Bloodguard 3 out of 5 stars. The next couple books I read were all in the same series, and that is the Addicted series. I continued reading the series with Thrive, Addicted After All, and Fuel the Fire. If you know, you know. I started reading this series this year and I really love these characters in this world. It's just so fun. It feels like one of my early 2000s shows like 90210 or Gossip Girl and stuff. So Thrive and Addicted After All are continuations of Lily and Lo's story. Y'all know I love me some Lo. So I really love these books so much. I love seeing the character development, and the growth in them is insane. I also just love reading about the other characters through their points of views, because I don't know, I just think that they're so I don't know. But I think I can never understand, like, I never know what to rate these books because I love the characters so much, but there's definitely times while I'm reading it where I'm like, what is going on? Like, what are y'all doing? So I don't really know how definite these ratings are for this series. I probably would have to reread them to really determine what I want to rate them all. But so far, I'm thinking a 4.25 for Thrive and a 5 out of 5 for Addicted After All, because the way this ended and wrapped up their story was just very, very much so needed. So that's how I felt about those two. And then we have Fuel the Fire, which is the second book in Connor and Rose's story. I love Connor Cobalt so bad, and I love him with Rose. I think they're my favorite couple in the entire series, so I always love reading their books. I did enjoy this book, and I don't know, I feel like they don't get the love they deserve. That's how I feel. I feel like they don't get the love they deserve, and there could have been so much more done with this book and their story, but it just lacked something for me. So I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I still love this book and I love them so much. I'm so sad that I only have 2 books left in this series before I'm done with all of them because I just love these characters so much. The next book that I read in the month of November was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I've been waiting to read this book, so it was a much needed, and I think November was the perfect time to read it. It was just so cute and cozy. So basically Nora is a literary agent, and her and her sister are kind of like, she don't know what's going on. They got a little weird vibe going on. Her sister suggests that they go to this small town that one of Nora's authors wrote about in her newest release. So they go there for the summer, and they're just kind of she's trying to rekindle her relationship with her sister. And while there, she runs into this editor that she met in the city there, and you can just kind of see where that goes from there. But I really love this book. This was my second favorite Emily Henry book. I love them. I love Charlie Lastra. Oh my gosh, I love him so bad. The banter in this book was like no other. She does banter very well, though. I can give her that. She always has really good banter in her books. There were so many funny moments while I was reading this book. There were also so many beautiful quotes within this book. She always does that, though. Emily Henry is really good for banter, good quotes, and a good cry, I feel like. So if you want any of those 3 things, definitely check out Book Lovers. Love this book so much, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I read a book on my Kindle, and that was Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This book is basically about this society, and in this society there's descendants of the gods, because the gods came down to earth and fell in love and had babies with mortals, and then those babies became descendants, and they have like powers, and they're just like a little stronger than regular humans and all that good stuff. So the descendants rule society, and in this society there's a girl named Theme, and she's a healer with her mother, and one day her mother goes missing and she doesn't know what happens, but she's trying to figure out what happened to her mama. And along the way, you know, there's other stuff going on, and then you have the descendants coming into play. So yeah, the book was really exciting. I felt like a lot of it was predictable for me, but I still really enjoyed the book. I actually read it in one of my reading vlogs. I think it was in the vlog, how many times I pick up my phone determines how many pages I read. That vlog, I read that book in, so you can see all my reactions if you want to. But I did really enjoy that book overall. I ended up giving it a 3.75 out of 5 stars, and I will be continuing the series. So after I read Spark of the Everflame, I was itching for another fantasy book. So I picked up The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is the 3rd book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and it's the 1st book in the Shadowborn duet. The first 2 were the Nightborn duet. I won't really tell you what this book is about because it is the 3rd book in the series, and that would spoil what happened in the 2nd book. So what I will say though is it's about Rain's best friend Mish. So you're following her throughout this whole book. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I loved the romance. I think she just writes really good men, Carissa Broadbent, because Rain, he's still on my list for book boyfriends. I love him a lot. So I'm excited to see what happens in the 2nd book in this little duet, and yeah, you should definitely read it. I ended up giving this a 3.75 out of 5 stars as well. And then the last 2 books I read in the month of November were All In and Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. These are the last 2 books in the Natural series, and y'all, they did not disappoint. They did not disappoint at all. But these books were so good. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you what they're about because they're the last 2 books in the series, but they basically still follow the same. It's these teenagers. They are in this program that the FBI runs, and they're the Naturals. Basically, they have these natural abilities that the FBI uses to solve serial killer cases, and it's so good. So good. My jaw was on the floor for a majority of the time that I read these books. If you want to see my live reactions, I do have a video of me continuing the series I'm in the middle of. You can watch that if you want more on how I felt like for each book. But let me just say, these were so good. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I ended up giving Blood a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend that you read this series if you haven't yet because it's so good. My only complaint for the series, I just wish that we got a little bit more time in the last book. It was a lot shorter than I expected it to be, but overall 10 out of 10, would highly recommend this series. But yeah, those are all the books I read in the month of November. I had such a fun reading month, and I'm excited to see what I end up reading for the last month of the year. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.